Welcome everybody to 5 Questions with LeRoy Butler. We're here for yet another episode, and neither of us is injured, I don't think. Right?
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah,
have a
we're healthy.
concussion or a messed up knee or anything like that?
You know, I had 3 concussions in my career, and they're a little bit different now. You have to go through these independent tests and test with the doctors, and not a lot of guys have been playing the week after they get these concussions.
Yeah. Oh, I twisted my ankle coming up the stairs today.
So you're injured reserve?
But I'm tougher. I'm toughing it out. I'm here to play.
Well, good thing, because I don't want to do this show by myself. Well, I could.
Not that you could anyway.
You might be right.
Yeah, you needed me all through your career anyways.
Well, I helped you too. So.
Yeah.
How do you
Anyway,
think you got that big raise?
we're so funny. Let's move on to some real football stuff. And number one, everybody saw the injuries Washington suffered.
Yeah.
I mean, the Packers suffered in the Washington game. Number one, Aaron Rodgers suffered apparently a concussion on the last play when he got hit, and it looked like maybe the back of his head hit the ground, or it was when the contact with the helmet. Number one question. Should he play? You mentioned, you suffered concussions, and I think back then you probably played with them too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this day and age, a lot of fans, they really don't care. They want Aaron Rodgers to play. It's not about his health. It's about can he play and can he get out of this kind of a slump that he's in. But ultimately, it does come down to the player, because the NFL is starting to crack down. The Players Association is starting to crack down. And, Jay Cutler got a concussion. I think he went back to practice, but he did not play. I don't think he should play if he really had a concussion. I'm hoping that maybe misdiagnosed him and maybe he didn't have a concussion. But
Or
for all the
playing
reports,
cautious. You mean like, okay, let's call it a concussion.
right?
Because
They kind of jumped the gun a little bit. Every time you get a hit in the head, they think you always have a concussion.
Right.
And sometimes they rush to judgment a little bit, and I think it's going to really cost them maybe not playing. Because if I were, the Packers, I would get Matt Flynn ready to play this week against Miami, because ultimately you need Aaron Rodgers for the stretch run.
Right.
And I don't want to get into a situation where when he's 65, 70 years old, and he has a problem with his brain and they didn't take it really seriously.
Right.
So with that being said, I don't expect him to play. If he does play, I'm going to be a little worried for him.
Yeah, I think the rules are so specific now.
Yeah.
It does ultimately come down to a medical decision. Pat McKenzie will be the one who decides
And
whether
they'll bring
he
in
can
an
play.
independent person.
And they
right?
will bring in an independent guy who will say, I don't think he should play. I think he's okay. And, there's certain rules about how many days you can go without symptoms
Right.
before they'll let you play. Knowing Aaron Rodgers, he's probably, I would guess that he's going to play. You're questioning it. I think we'll find out.
Yeah,
but
we
they
will.
definitely have to get Flynn ready.
Absolutely. They should get him ready anyway. But again, if he does play, Tom, he takes another hit to the head, now that can be longer.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to err on caution. Maybe he shouldn't play. But you brought up a perfect point. Ryan Grant had a concussion in preseason. He played the following week.
Right.
So I guess each guy's different. But if they go through all the medical stuff and the independent guy or young lady is a real bulldog and make him pass those tests, and if he can play, they'll clear him. If not, get Matt Flynn ready.
Right. Other injuries, very significant. Of course, number one in that group would be Jermichael Finley.
Yes.
I mean, you're talking about their most productive offensive player this year. Anybody included, Rodgers included. I think he's been their most valuable guy. Now you're talking about taking a guy off. This is like taking Greg Jennings out of the mix, and maybe even worse. How do they deal with this now?
Well, the offense definitely changes when Finley goes out, because a lot of teams have been playing this cover 2 defense where you drop both safeties and you kind of open the middle of the field up. If you have a capable tight end, it's a lot of big plays down the field. Well, what happened was, instead of putting Greg Jennings in the inside, they put Jordy Nelson on the inside, who's still a taller target, until Corliss is ready to take on that role. But, Tom, they got to get the ball to Jennings. I mean, 85 is a big play guy. I mean, he always catches these play action long touchdowns in the past. But I mean, the guy had 14 catches. I mean, that's not enough to be an elite receiver. So they got to design ways to get him the ball, move him around a little bit, put him in the backfield, put him at tight end, put him at X, Y. It doesn't matter. But until they can collectively get the ball to 85, this offense may struggle. But again, you get a lot of drop passes by Driver. You got drop passes, by most of the guys. And I can't figure that part out because normally in the past, this is the best yards after a catch group. And for some reason, they're not catching the ball consistently. And I really feel like this offense right now has to be designed around Jennings.
Okay. And I agree with you. And I think I always remember way back when Mike Holmgren and Sherman Lewis told me this way back when, was that they can always replicate that tight end with a slot receiver. They can
Absolutely
do the same routes with that guy and push the middle of the field with a third receiver. And that's sort of why they went to three.
That's right.
wides
So
all
instead
the time.
of going three wides, or if with Finley in there, you can split him out like a wide receiver. But now with him not in there, you get the three wide receiver with two backs, and you can still run the ball. You can still play action.
Right.
And you can still go down the field.
Still run the same routes. that
Right,
tight
you
end
can do the
was
same thing, just plug in different people.
Okay. Now, this also leads to another question, which is, what the heck happened to Brandon Jackson after his 71-yard run? I was amazed that he didn't get the ball anymore.
Yeah.
And as we're going to show later in our chalkboard, X's and O's segment, this guy maybe surprised us a little bit with kind of his talent. What happened? Why did he abandon the run?
Well, a lot of it has to do with the mental aspects of McCarthy knowing that they have a throwing team. You got to be patient with the run. If a guy got 71 yards on one carry, imagine if he had gotten 25 carries.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of it had to do with what we pointed out earlier. If the linebackers are going to play so deep for the pass, it is opportunities in there to run the ball. So why would you even bring in a number one running back if you're not going to give him the ball?
Right.
I think the philosophy is, to throw the football.
Maybe that's why Ted Thompson didn't deal for Marshawn.
There you go.
Figured it'd be a waste of time.
It would be a waste of
McCarthy
time
doesn't
and money
know how to
because
run
they
the
were
ball.
not going to give him the opportunities. So you stick with Brandon Jackson. I would have loved to see him got maybe 15 to 25 carries and see, because he was on a roll.
When a guy gets on a roll, you got to ride him a little bit.
Absolutely.
And the thing I liked about what he did was, and we'll show in that play, is that particular play, the linebackers didn't drop, and he still made guys miss. So.
He made two guys miss that was unblocked, and I can't wait to show that. And a lot of it has to attribute to great coaching by Edgar Bennett, the running back coach. He gets a lot of credit of helping these guys find the little holes. It doesn't have to be a gaping hole. Just enough a hole for you to get into the secondary, and that's when you do your damage.
Yeah, he does do a great job with those running backs. Other issue I think that we need to talk about is all the injuries on defense. You're talking about Nick Barnett possibly out for the year. Brandon Schiller's been down. Clay Matthews is now hurt. We don't know if he's going to play. Ryan Pickett is hurt. It just goes on.
Burnett's out for the season.
Burnett is out for the season. Colin Jenkins, Sam Shields has been out. So you're looking at a game where all of a sudden Charlie Pepper's playing. Desmond Bishop is starting his first game. Pat Lee is playing slot corner. Frank Zombo's filling in. Mike Neal is finally getting a lot of playing time. That's got to be tough for Dom Capers. He doesn't know how these guys are going to react, and it showed on Charlie Pepper's two plays, big plays that he gave up.
Absolutely.
Another one we will show what happened on that play. And it's like, if Charlie Pepper maybe had played 3 or 4 games, maybe he doesn't make that mistake.
And understand this, a lot of these guys, they play special team. Charlie Pepper is a special team guy. Now you're asking him to start. A lot of this is the scheme is supposed to be so good, it doesn't matter who you put in. But the problem of it is, when you're trying to close a team out, these guys are not used to closing a team out. When you're up 13-3 times, you got to put teams away. But if you're never in that position, you don't understand the nuances of what the defense is supposed to do in the fourth quarter. And we're going to draw it up later in X's and O's. You got to watch that because the play should have been covered. But the problem was the front broke down. Bishop went inside, lost contain. You give McNabb a little bit more time. He's an experienced quarterback.
Right.
Makes a great throw. Armstrong catches the ball. Now, that could have been the difference in the game. Also, when you're on the road, instead of going for it on fourth down, take the points.
Yeah.
If your defense at that point was playing well, McCarthy kicks the field goal, now it is a different ball game.
Okay, and finally, I know you don't want to talk about this, but I'm on my soapbox.
I wonder what you're going to talk about.
I'm on my soapbox today, and darn it, we're going to talk about it.
All right.
So I wanted to talk about Brett Favre.
Yeah.
And let's take aside the whole text messaging mess and everything else.
You've done that before. You've sent text messages.
Yeah, but usually it's of our dog,
Yeah, that's true.
something like that, So, but anyway, here's what my point. I'm curious what you think about this.
Yeah.
There appears to be some division in the Vikings locker room. They don't seem to be on the same page all the way around. I think this is a product of letting Favre do whatever he wants in the offseason, letting him dictate when he can come in, letting him dictate all these things that while players are busting their butts at camp, he's not there. And I think this is the thing that Ted Thompson fought when he first got in there was take that away from Favre, take that whole idea of him dictating how the team is run. And as we know early on in his career, who took that away from him or who dominated him? Mike Holmgren. And did not allow him to take that role. What do you think? I mean, am I off base here? Or?
No, I think you're right on. But at the same time, I think a lot of people understand that when the head coach picks you up from the airport from day one in his car, not some young guy, or some guy you don't even know go picks you up or intern. It's a precedent set there. And in that car, it had to be a conversation. Who's going to pretty much run the team? You can get what you want. Just come in and help us win a Super Bowl. Now you bring in Randy Moss, and now you look at this thing. Now Minnesota has got a lot more than enough free agents on that team, and it's gotten them nothing. Or you can say you do it the young way, like the Green Bay Packers, developing your players. But the thing about Brett, people understands that he has to have it a certain way. If it's not going to work, then he's not going to be comfortable playing. And a lot of the controversy, and I thought he played very well last night, considering all this was going on. But to me, when you get out there and you're talking about sexual abuse or sexual harassment nature, come forward right away. To me, to sit there and wait a couple of years or a year and a half for all this to blow up, it's much ado about nothing. If it's really the NFL really wants to investigate this, they got to look at the whole scheme of things. The only issue is him and his wife. Otherwise, to me, if it doesn't have anything to do with football, I really don't really care about it a whole lot. But if it does have to do with football, then you have to look at it. So if you really did all these things, they should have come out a long time ago so they can deal with it. But otherwise, to calculate it, release this stuff the week when you play the Jets, I don't know if the Jets has anything to do with that, but, I've seen that organization the last couple of years, do some things. I'm talking the Jets. And maybe, I don't know if it's to get back at Brett, but at the same time, they maybe try to distract him. And I think that's what they really tried to do.
I see, and I don't totally buy it because this guy's played through everything. When he's on the field, he's Brett Favre, the football player, and all the other stuff.
But the week before they supposed to play the Jets,
but I think this is all a product of, the unity of that team, how they, are functioning. I think they're extremely talented. I think they got everything to win a Super Bowl. But they're not all on the same page. So anyway,
that's true.
I think it's an interesting subject, and we'll have to see how they're doing.
We'll stay tuned to that one because sooner or later something has to happen, and you have to. Sometimes you just got to wait and see. But if it's anybody out there, sexual harassment, do something right away. Don't sit around and wait on it because I think you give other people holes to kind of get out of it.
Okay. Good. And you wanted to say something about
Yeah.
an appearance you got.
Absolutely. Thursday, October the 14th, I'll be at Sentinel in New Berlin. It starts at 9 in the morning all day. You can come over and see me and get an autograph and talk Packer football. You can see me at www.LeRoyButler4.com and get a card this month. We're going to donate $100 per card to breast cancer. So I'm very, very, very excited about
Okay,
that.
and that's on October 14th.
October 14th in New Berlin. And you can come there, got food, drinks, and everything, and plus you'll see me. So who can miss out that chance?
Yeah, but they'll have food there, okay? That's the important thing. All right.
Ballestery owned and operated, by the way.
Thanks for joining us, and be sure you tune into X's and O's because we've got some interesting plays.
Yeah, you don't
to
want to
look
miss
at.
that.